Have you ever felt bad after a sales conversation and you were like, I wish I could help this person instead of just selling them? You're a coach and all you want to do is help your people. But at the same time, you do not want to starve yourself by simply doing free work all the time. You see, I have personally taken more than 500 sales calls over the last few years, and it doesn't really matter if I advertised, they opted in for the call themselves, or I cold called them. There was always this resistance that the other person had. Their guards were always up. So, in this video, I will be talking about the 5 ways you're secretly destroying your coaching business by taking sales calls yourself. And towards the end of it, I will share what we shifted to instead that instantly made it way easier to sell our programs, even if we 5x our prices. All right, so make sure you watch till the end to really take this lesson home. Okay, so the first way you're destroying your business is by not having enough time to take more and more sales call. You see, I've been shouting at the top of my lungs that when you are doing sales calls, what you're doing is you're restricting yourself from growing your coaching program sales, right? Because again, if you're taking sales calls and you're currently selling like 5 to 10 programs a month, guess how many sales calls you would have to take in order to sell 100 of them? 10 times more. Yes, absolutely, that is the right answer. Because I mean, there is no option unless and until you go ahead and bring in salespeople for taking the calls. And if you have personally figured out a way to keep booking appointments over and over again, and you have the capability to maintain a sales team and guide them on the right track, then by all means go in that path, right? And if you're doing it on your own, then know this, that the only if you're doing it on your own, you're doing that sales calls and you're selling your coaching program through it, then you will be reaching like a threshold that where you cannot take more than that calls, right? Because ultimately you're selling a coaching program, you have to focus on your clients. How much would you focus on actually just selling to people, and at the end of the day you wouldn't have time to really do the coaching? See what I mean? That is the first way. The second way you're destroying your business is because you're losing credibility by taking the calls yourself. Now imagine you see a person, right? You see this person, this person is coming to the stage in this particular event, and they are doing amazing work. They are so great, such a great speaker, and they deliver so good content that you are obsessed with that particular person, right? And now you want to work with this person. You go to that social media and you see this funnel where you just go ahead and schedule a call with them, and guess who comes up on the sales call? That same person. You have an amazing conversation with them, you're so excited because you love this person, you get on a call, you are like, oh my god, yes, absolutely, this is amazing, that is perfect. And then that other person gets into selling their coaching program. when they do that when they do that, they pitch the offer, now they're talking about the price, and it shocked you, right? And it was like $10,000 or $15,000 that there's no way you have that kind of money. What would you say personally? Hey, I'm really sorry, I do not have that kind of money. Is there a payment plan that I can work out, and so on and so forth? So you get into that nitty gritty, right? And what the other person is trying to do is trying to sell you. Now, what impression do you take of that person? Now he's a salesperson, right? Instead of being the coach, being the speaker, right? Now, that is the problem when you're taking the calls yourself. Again, if you have the capability to maintain a sales team, by all means, get all in on that. But focus on one offer, one system. Okay? This is the second problem. The third one is pushy sales. When we are getting on the sales call, there will come a point whenever the other person is giving some kind of objection throwing at us, we will be trying to counter that. We will be talking about objection handling. We will be trying to say that, hey, what do you want to think about, right? But you see, in this part of the digital era, everybody know how to handle objections, right? Hey, what do you really need to think about? Like when you say that, especially to the higher level entrepreneurs, like they're going to be like, oh, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, right? So you're trying to push the sale, but instantly their guards will go up and they will be like, oh no, I do not, I absolutely understand what you're trying to do, but it's just like I do not have the money to do this. I just need to think about what are the other ways I can go with, right? And so on and so forth. So what does that do? That as well, like, decreases your credibility so much, and now you are like just another salesperson, right? Another pushy sales. Even if you have got a team who is doing this, what happens is, like, if you are not that person who doesn't like to, like, push people, nudge them, like, hey, buy this, buy this, buy this, but your salesperson comes in and they start doing that, right? And they start using objection handling tactics, and a great closer will always do that, right? A great closer knows that if they want to change someone's life, they have to make them buy, right? And I believe that personally, because I know if somebody is buying my offer, we are going to change their life, right? But just because of this, your image as the coach is also going to get hampered because that person is being pushy, right? What kind of image would that salesperson make of yours? Because that plays a very important part, right? And the more, and we have seen, like, a very good example of this would be by Dan Henry, and I have talked about his story a lot of times in a lot of different videos. You can go ahead and watch those videos. But he talked about, like, the coach, whenever a coach is trying to create, like, a work with a sales team, what happens is that sometimes their tonality wouldn't match the tonality of each and every salesperson, right? Because that particular, those salesperson will individually have their own personalities that they would want to take, right? And not everybody will be aligning with the same tonality that the coach really has. And there are exceptional closers out there. If you can find them, by all means, get them in, right? The fourth problem, or the fourth way that you're destroying your coaching business, is by using high persuasion on the sales call. And when you're taking sales call, there has to be high persuasion to get them to buy. Now, by high persuasion, I mean, like, you are nudging them, hey, we are going to help you do this as well. We are going to help you do this as well, right? Whatever objection they are throwing, you're helping them overcome that on the call itself. Now what it does is, like, you do overpromise, and you might definitely help them do that. So for example, somebody says that I do not have any idea about my niche, I don't have any idea about my offer, right? Now you say, oh, we are going to figure that out when you sign up for our program. What we are going to do is we are going to help you figure your irresistible offer. We have already created a video around that, and so on and so forth. Yes, you can handle those objections, you can get them to sign up, but when they buy, once they buy, they're going to give you a hard time, because after you have made the sale, when they join the program, they see the content, they do not like it, and it doesn't help them. Guess who will be the person responsible for it? You or your salesperson, right? The fourth way sales calls are destroying, the fifth way the sales calls are destroying your coaching business is by allowing guarantees in the pitching. So you see, whenever you're trying to sell, there will be some objections, there will be some people who will be talking about, hey, what would happen if I do not make the money that I'm investing inside of this program back, right? So you're obliged to give them some kind of guarantee to get them to sign up. And guarantees are like, it does get people to sign up, like, make the sale, yes. But I have learned, like, a really hard way, that you cannot offer guarantees when you're offering a coaching program, because every single person is different. I have already talked about how I lost $6,400 in my first ever coaching program that I launched. You can go ahead and watch it over here. Over there, I talk about guarantees and how difficult it got when we started providing guarantees. Go ahead and watch that particular video. But that is why in a sales call, it becomes really difficult for you to sell without a guarantee, right? But when you're making the guarantee, the other person is like, okay, I'm going to get this guaranteed, right? But you never know where this other person is, because you just had a conversation with them for 60 minutes. Maybe they haven't even started in their stuff, right? So what if I told you there was a way you can shift to this one way of selling that would solve all of these five problems that sales calls make at the same time? Let me introduce you to the concept of 5-day challenges, right? Think of 5-day challenges as a virtual event where you bring every single person that comes inside of your world into a 5-day virtual event. Inside of the 5-day virtual event, you do 1 hour of training where you teach them on a particular topic, and then you give them a task towards the end, right? Towards the end of each day, you give them a task, they complete the task, they go on to the next day's training. But right after day one's training, they go to 1 hour extra session where they can ask you questions, right? This is a Q&A session where people can ask you anything about what we covered on that particular day. Guess what happens on the Q&A session? They ask you, or they give you the objections that is stopping them from moving forward for that particular day. For example, on day one, you talk about niching down, or you talk about creating your irresistible offer. When you talk about the irresistible offer framework, day one, now they are working it out while you're teaching to them. So, right after the training is completed, they're going to ask you questions about the irresistible offers. Now, you're going to know all the objections they're going to throw at you, and when you answer them, you're already overcoming the objections, right? Now, once you're doing these trainings every single day for 5 days, towards the end of the 5 days, you get these people into a separate Zoom, right? Now, this separate Zoom is where you're going to soft pitch your offer. What do I mean by soft pitch? Soft pitch basically means you are not like persuading anyone to get inside of your coaching program. What you're simply doing is reading through the offer that you have got. If somebody is interested to buy, they're gonna buy. If they're not interested, they're not gonna buy. As simple as that, right? That is how 5-day challenges work. Now let's understand, how does this solve all the problems we face while selling one-to-one, right? The first one, which was time. Over here, when you're doing a 5-day challenge, you're investing the same time no matter how many people you want to sell your coaching program to. Now, what do I mean by that? If you want to increase the price, if you want to increase the sales you're getting from 10 sales a month to 100 sales a month, you don't need to get on a call with 10 times more people. You just need to bring 10 times more people inside of your 5-day challenge, and you're still investing 2 hours per day for the 5 days, right? And you're still selling to more people by simply getting them in one room. Simple, right? The second way is you retain the authority because you're doing what you're intending to do, which is you're coaching the attendees. You're retaining your credibility by doing that. You're not being the salesperson over here. You're coaching them like you're supposed to be their coach. Get what I mean? Right? So you're simply training them on something, and you're coaching them on the Q&A sessions. The third problem, pushy sales, right? Over here you're going to have zero pushy sales. You take only the interested people who are interested in getting to know more about your offer into a separate Zoom where you just walk them through what you have to offer. If they are ready to buy, they're going to buy. If they're not ready, they're not going to buy, right? You don't no need to do follow-ups, no pushing anyone, right? You're simply sharing what you have to offer. They buy if they're ready. Now, what this does is, like, in a 5-day challenge, people need to apply to work with you, right? So on day three, you give them an application and say, "Hey, we are gonna invite you into a separate Zoom room if you love what we are doing and you want to continue working with us after the 5 days." So only the interested people are gonna come up instead of the separate Zoom where you're gonna soft pitch the offer. You see, you're not being salesy at all, and you're not nudging anyone, "Hey, buy this, buy that." You're not selling to anyone, right? So, the fourth one, using high persuasion. You see, when you're doing a 5-day challenge, you don't need to persuade anyone. All you have to do is make the content so good, like you have to make the content of the challenge so good that they become the person to make the decision themselves. Now, what do I mean by that? Like, think of it this way. Let's say your prospect needs to have a niche figured out before they invest into your premium value offer. If you get them on a call, what you try to do while selling this is you just say to them that, "Hey, we are going to help you figure out your niche when you sign up with us anyways, so you don't need to worry about that." Now, when they sign up and they still have a hard time selling, like figuring out their niche, guess who they are going to blame? You will be responsible for it, right? Whereas when you are doing a 5-day challenge, you can dedicate an entire day to really just go ahead and help them really figure out their niche, right? So on day one, you can say, "Hey, today we are going to talk about how to figure out a niche," right? So this is how you figure out a niche. Your task is to figure out your niche today itself. Guess what happens in the Q&A session? They ask you questions about the niche. If they have any problem, they're going to ask you for it, and you answer to them. You help them really figure out the niche, right? So you're removing the objection altogether, like before they even see what you have to offer. See what I mean? This is how powerful it is. The fifth and the last thing is, you have no obligation for any kind of guarantees. When you're doing a 5-day challenge, they get sold on you as a coach, and you don't have to overpromise anyone anything to get them to just sign up. You're just sharing what you have to offer, and they make their own decision. So you're really empowering them to make their decisions, right? See, like, so you see how amazing this can be when you start selling one to many rather than one to one. Okay, this is exactly what we have been doing with all of our clients, and even increase the retention of their coaching clients by simply empowering them. When people make their own decisions, they feel like I need to be like they feel like they are accountable for themselves, right, rather than you being accountable. However, you have to give them so much good value in the 5 days that they have to say, if this person is giving me so much value at this price, I cannot imagine what would happen if we sign up with them. Okay, so now that you understand the true potential of 5-day challenges, let me ask you this: when are you doing yours?